The lighthouse at Point Orla had not been dark in more than 100 years. Not during storms that made the sea cough up its secrets. Not during wars when the coast was lined with whispers and blackouts. Not even on the night when the keeper's child was born in the lantern room itself, under a spinning crown of light. By the time Elara took the job, the world had all but forgotten that lighthouses still needed keepers. Ships had GPS. Satellites watched the waves like hawks. But someone still had to polish the lens oil, the mechanism, and listen to the foghorn breathe. Her first evening there was thin with mist. The sea wore its white caps like impatient thoughts. Inside, the tower smelled of oil and salt and something older. A kind of devotion. She climbed the spiral stairs slowly, each turn bringing a soft pressure to her chest, as if the air were gently reminding her she had come to be still. At the top, she found the great Fresnel lens turning with patient elegance. It caught the last daylight and folded it into itself, making a jewel out of what was left of the sun. She touched the brass rail, its chill waking her palms. Below, the rocks huddled like conspirators. Beyond them, the horizon smudged itself into night. Her predecessor, old Mr. Vance, had left her 3 things: a ring of heavy keys, a logbook with entries that began in the previous century, and a note pinned to the first blank page. The light docility keeps ships from crashing. It reminds them where they are. Elara read it 3 times. The meaning felt too large for one evening. In a small keeper's house at the base of the tower, she lit the stove, cooked a single egg, and ate it, listening to the beam sweep the dark. 4 seconds across the harbor, 4 seconds back. She imagined it was breathing for the coast, the inhale and exhale of a guardian too stubborn to sleep. On her 3rd night, the storm came. It wasn't violent in the way stories love to exaggerate. It was steady, insistent, the kind of weather that sands away at edges until they are something else entirely. Rain traced every seam of the windows. Wind leaned against the door like an uninvited guest, testing the hinges. At midnight, a single horn sounded from the fog. She felt it in her ribs before she heard it in her ears. A fishing boat, too close. She climbed the tower, heart pacing her faster than her boots could. The beam cut the wet air, landing again and again on the same patch of roiling water. There, a hull, shuddering, stubborn. Against the rocks. She grabbed the old signal lamp, its handle worn to a groove that fit no one est hand perfectly, but everyone est well enough. She sent the code she'd learned from the logbook. Starboard, ease, ease, safe water port side. The boat hesitated, like an animal unsure of a hand, then turned, slowly. Minutes later, the fog swallowed it whole, but the hornet's next call came from farther out, a sound no longer in panic but in conversation. When dawn came, the sea looked as though nothing had happened. The beam was pale now, almost bashful in daylight. Elara wrote in the logbook, "Storm. 1 boat. Light worked both ways." Over the months she learned the rhythms of a place that kept no schedule but its own. The gull that perched on the east rail every Tuesday, mourning the way the wind changed personality at exactly 3 a.m. the soft click the lens made when it locked into alignment. She sent messages to passing ships even when none were needed. Greetings, small jokes, a string of dots and dashes that meant nothing but the pleasure of being heard. Sometimes, in the blue hours before dawn, she would climb to the lantern room just to sit beside the turning glass and let the light sweep her too. 4 seconds in brightness, 4 in shadow. In those moments, she thought she understood Mr. Vance's note. The lighthouse did not tell ships what to do. It told them they were seen. That was sometimes enough. One evening in late autumn, a package arrived without a return address. Inside, a jar of sea glass, each piece worn smooth by the same patient hand that shapes cliffs and hearts. At the bottom of the jar, a note in the same careful dots and dashes she had once sent. Safe water found. Thank you. She placed it on the windowsill of the kitchen, where the light from the tower caught it just so, turning it into another lens, smaller, but no less true. On her 1-year anniversary, she wrote in the logbook, "Light never slept." Neither did I, but in the best way. Then she added, almost without thinking, "I am not here to keep the dark away. I am here to keep the dark honest." Closing quote. The light doesn't end the dark. It teaches it where to stand.